Hello! Today we are doing lesson 20 and we are going to study some grammar. In grammar, we are going to study modal verbs and talk about robots. Is it interesting? Okay, so let's get started. What are today's tasks? We're going to learn the meaning of the modals and we are going to understand their usage. We are going to listen to a dialogue and fill in modal verbs into the dialogue. And we are going to train modal verbs in sentences. What are our main goals? Our main goal is to use modal verbs in our speech, talking about a robot. And we're going to find the best suitable answer in a short test. So be very attentive and try to remember the rules. Look, what modal verbs can we use? Let's learn some rules. Can and could are modal verbs. Modal verbs don't show any action. Модальные глаголы не показывают никакого действия. They use the attitude. Они показывают отношение человека к действию и всегда употребляются с другим глаголом. Look, can and could often mean ability. Глаголы can and could могут показывать возможность. То есть, что человек может, умеет или мог в прошлом делать. For example, she can play the piano. She can't play the flute. I could run fast when I was young. Or I could read when I was 4. Can, could and may can be used for permission. Эти глаголы могут употребляться, чтобы попросить разрешения или дать его. Can I borrow your phone? Могу я взять твой телефон? Ну, can мы употребляем только по отношению к друзьям. You may have a cookie if you eat your dinner. May глагол более вежливый. May I go out? You ask a teacher. Or, could you please tell me the time? Не могли бы вы мне сказать, сколько времени? Could you? Не могли бы. Вежливый глагол. Should and ought to we use for advice. Эти глаголы мы употребляем, чтобы дать совет. It's a good thing to do. Or it's not a good thing to do. I think you should exercise more. Should I go to school today? Is it good or not good? Must and have to we use for obligation. Эти глаголы мы употребляем для выражения долженствования, то есть что мы должны делать. By the rule, по каким-то законам и правилам, or have to, в силу каких-то обстоятельств. For example, you must finish your work. It's very important to do. Be quick. Это очень важно. Мы можем настаивать глаголом must. Or you must be careful with the robot. You have to clean the house. So your mother asked you to do, so we have to clean the house. Let's continue. Now, we are going to listen to a dialogue between a girl and a boy talking about a robot. Listen and complete the dialogue with modal verbs. Try to guess what meaning have modal verb in each sentence. To do all the exercises of the lesson, we need to study vocabulary as well. Open your worksheet and first repeat after me the words on the vocabulary. Please, be able to, be able to, make sure, make sure, properly, properly, power, power, turn off, turn off, be careful, be careful. Okay, try to use these words in your speech, in your homework. Okay, and now we are doing exercise A. Listen and complete the dialogue with the modal verbs.
Robot inventions. Track 27. Listen and complete the dialogue.
Hey, Yuka, what do you have there?
It's my science project. We must make a useful invention.
It looks like a robot.
It is a robot. I can build robots, you know.
Wow, so what can it do?
It can type stories for homework and do math problems.
That's amazing. You should tell a magazine or TV show about this.
Thanks, but first I must make sure it works properly.
Could you build one of these robots for me, too?
Okay. If you want to listen to the dialogue again, please rewind the video. Now, let's do exercise B. Look, in your worksheet, we have got questions. Try to find answers to these questions in the dialogue. What is the robot able to do? What is it able to do? It can type stories for homework and do math problems. What does Shane say is a good idea for Yuka to do? What is a good idea for Yuka to do? What is his advice? Какой его совет? You should tell a magazine or TV show about this. So it will be a good idea to show your invention to everyone. And one more question. What does Shane ask Yuka? Can you build one of these robots for me too? Or could you build one of these robots for me too? Please. Let's see the answers and check your work. Look, what do these verbs mean in the dialogue? Какое же значение всех модальных глаголов в этом диалоге? Listen, repeat, and try to explain. We must make a useful invention. So it is very important for us. It is our task. Я считаю это очень важным для меня, что мы должны выполнить это изобретение. Нам дано такое задание. I can build robots, you know. I can. Я умею, я могу это делать. Меня научили, я могу. What can it do? Что умеет делать робот? Какие его функции? You should tell a magazine or TV show about this. Шейн дает совет Йоко, чтобы она показала свое изобретение на телевидении или в журнале. Это была бы хорошей идеей. First, I must make sure it works properly. It's very important, I think. Для меня очень важно, говорит Юка, чтобы он работал хорошо и все проходило отлично. Can you build one of these robots for me too? Or could you build? Шейн спрашивает, могла бы она сделать для него такого же робота? Good. So, how do we use different modal verbs? Can, could, must, should, ought to, and have to. Look and repeat after me the examples. Modals are used with verbs. Всегда модальные глаголы используются с другим глаголом. They tell us about the ability to do things. Показывают возможность выполнения действия. Can – мочь, уметь. Whether it is good idea to do things. Should – хорошая или плохая идея что-то делать. С помощью глагола should мы даем совет. Things we need to do. So must. Вещи, которые мы обязаны сделать, должны сделать, и мы считаем это очень важным для себя. I must. Я обязана, я должна. Or things that are allowed or possible. Или то, чтобы вы разрешили мне что-то сделать, или сделать это можно было бы. Could you? Не могли бы вы? Вежливый глагол для фраз. For example, I can build robots. So I have knowledge to build robots. You could invent something useful. You should tell a magazine about this. He must write the stories first. How we put questions. We use can, should, and could before the subject. Can you make a new robot? Could you play outside with it? Should I talk? in the teacher first, to the teacher first. Okay, and always, almost always, we use not after the verb. For example, cannot or can't, should not or shouldn't, could not or couldn't. And we normally don't use must in questions. So we don't ask must I, but do I have to? Должен ли я что-то сделать? Okay, let's train ourselves. Good. Look at the examples, read them, and try to use the necessary verb. Постарайтесь определить значение каждого глагола в данном предложении. Stop the video to have more time to do the exercise. And we are going to check the answers. Let's check our answers. Look, repeat the sentences after me and explain the usage of the modals. Useful inventions can make life much easier for people. Они способны сделать жизнь легче. So we use the verb can, который обозначает способность. My robot needs power, so I must put batteries in it to make it work. It's very important. Очень важно вставить батарейки, иначе он не будет работать. Or we can use have to. Я должен ставить батарейки из-за обстоятельств, что он не работает без батареек. Next sentence. Our dad said we could use the garage to build our new invention. Мы бы могли воспользоваться гаражом. Could use. Inventors should make useful things or people will not buy them. Совет. Они должны делать полезные вещи, иначе люди не будут покупать их. То есть это совет изобретателям, чтобы люди покупали какие-то вещи. It's a good idea for inventors to make useful things. Could you give me some ideas on how to make a new invention? Could you please? То есть мы вежливо спрашиваем, не могли бы вы дать нам какие-то идеи? This robot uses power from the sun, so it doesn't need batteries. Не нужны ему батарейки. Глагол need тоже модальный глагол. Let's continue and do other exercises on modals. Now we are going to train these modals in our speech. Remember that after can, should, could, must, we use the first form without to. But after have to, ought to, we use to. Look, first do exercise D. Answer the questions using the correct modals. Answer first and then listen to my answer and check. What can the robot do? Look at the picture. What can the robot do? It can walk. Yes, it can. It can go up the stairs. I guess it can go down the stairs. Okay. Where could they go to buy their robot parts? They could go to Jay's electronics store to buy their robot parts. Where should Tim keep his robot? What is the best place to keep the robot? How do you think? I think Tim should keep his robot in a cupboard. Okay, now look at other robots in the pictures and try to make sentences with other modals. Must. I must be careful with the robot. I think it's important to do that it works well. Can and can't. This robot can cook breakfast, draw, and find information. I think it can't walk. It hasn't got any legs. Have to? I have to use batteries to make it work. So it doesn't work without any power. Ought to gives advice. Ought to дает совет, как и глагол should. I ought to turn the robot off after using. It's a good thing to do. Shouldn't. It's not a good thing to do. You shouldn't use the robot for a long time. I think it's not good for the robot and its work. Mustn't. I guess you mustn't keep the robot in wet places. It is very dangerous for the robot. Now it is your turn to prepare for your homework. Exercise E. Use these modals to talk about the robot in this advertising. Read the task and try to make different sentences with different modals. Record yourself and send your recording to me. So, your home task of the lesson. Exercise E. Tell about the robot with the modal verbs given in the task. Record yourself and send the recording to me. Do exercise F in your worksheet. Circle the suitable verb. It's a small test. How you understood the meaning of the modal verbs. I think this lesson was very useful for you. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.